We are about to talk about a high-end laptop and ask questions like, why pay more for something like this? To do that, we brought in a laptop expert in Demetris. We're diving into what makes this laptop special right now. Hi, I'm Andrew from Apt. This is Demetris, also from Apt. This is the LG Gram 16-inch Obsidian Black 2-in-1, very catchy name, and kind of an expensive laptop. It costs $2,100, but we like it anyway. Demetris, as our laptop expert, our resident laptop expert, why do we like a $2,100 laptop?
Oh, simply because of what it has inside of it. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Okay.
So super lightweight, weighs around 3 pounds, so you can pick it up. My favorite aspect about it is that unlike most laptops that are made with aluminum, this is made with magnesium. So it's a lot more durable, it's a lot more lighter, so when you walk it around, it's almost like it's not even there. Another thing I like about it too is that this one here specifically has a touchscreen, which is why the 2-in-1 factor comes in. A lot of people tend to call it a yoga. So the idea is, when you're doing yoga, you can take the actual unit, flip it over, and now it's like, you're doing yoga, you're bending in different positions.
You just broke the laptop. You just bended it this way. I feel like you did that, and that made me jump a little bit. I was like, oh my God.
No, the good thing about these guys is they're very durable. One of my favorite things about LG in particular is that the fact that other than they're made with magnesium is that they drop these things 15 feet for durability. So there is an idea behind it. If you actually look at the computer here, you're gonna notice that the actual bezel was a little underneath the machine. So kind of the idea is if you drop the machine, less vibration, less likely the screen's gonna crack.
So can you explain that to me, the bezel underneath the screen?
So most bezels tend to be on top of the machine, so if you notice, this bezel is a little bit under it. So even if I can face it toward the camera, you can see that it's more under the machine than sitting on top of it. So that's a big key right there.
And that helps with durability because what, it helps cushion if it drops from the ground?
Yes.
Okay, and so this, probably not this exact model dropped from 15 feet, but like, so, oh really? They all go through that durability test?
Yes, that's how they test it.
That's kind of cool. And is it magnesium the same element that's like in Wolverine's bones there?
That's adamantium.
That's adamantium, and it's fictional. So it is harder to make a laptop out of a fictional metal as opposed to a real metal like magnesium. So that makes that better. Okay, cool. This has a full HD webcam. Anything else I need to know about the camera?
Well, the camera here has 2 different cameras built in. One of them is a privacy camera, which I really love. So what that means is, as long as it's enabled, when someone walks past the back of you, whether you're on a train, you're on the bus, or anything of that nature, what will happen is the screen will blur.
Oh, that's cool. So like a little extra, like in case you're working on something and you don't want people looking over your shoulder, the laptop will help you out and keep your info secure.
Exactly.
Okay, that's pretty cool. So durable, bendable, which I don't know, that freaks me out a little bit, and a touch screen. So now why do I want a touch screen on a laptop?
Well, a touch screen is a little bit easier to use. I mean, most people tend to use their phones a lot, so they tend to touch their phone. So even people that don't have touch screens, I hear from customers, they'll walk in and they'll be like, man, I'm using this computer and I forget that it's not a touch screen and I'll touch it. Like, you know what I'm saying? So most people are used to a touch screen. It's a little more premium that way anyway.
Maybe even a little more intimate. You can poke and prod the things you actually want to. Okay.
Exactly.
And this includes this fancy thing, which isn't what I'm using to write in my notebook, but a thing you could use to like additionally poke and prod your laptop, which I think is the technical term for what you're doing with this thing, is the poking and the prodding.
Yeah. Now, I'll give you an example. Let's say that you're using it in school and you want to take notes and things of that nature. That's where the stylus pays off. Another thing I like about the stylus too, I'm going to go ahead and flip it for you guys, and then I'll show you after I actually do it. But what it allows you to do is how typically when you're using a tablet, I'm going to the internet right now. So when I get ready to put something in, you would think that if I touch these keys at the bottom, whatever I'm typing at the top will cause it to show up on the screen. Well, When it's flipped to tablet mode, it automatically goes to tablet mode.
And so the keyboard, so like if I'm holding that on my lap, it's not gonna type or whatever like my lap would want to communicate.
Exactly.
Which, like, I don't know, maybe there's a good website at and if you have that website, comment below, let us know, we'll be happy to visit.
Exactly.
Okay, so that is pretty cool and seems like just like a quality of life kind of feature.
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
And I would say another thing that I like about the stylus too, so if I face this toward you guys, you can see the keyboard pop up on the screen. So as we said, you can press it here. Another thing where this comes into play is when you press the little gear at the top here, you click the handwriting tool, and because it's a Gorilla Corning 6 screen, it's very durable because they're used to you pressing and putting pressure on it. So I can actually write as I would normally, and things would pop up on the screen.
So you said the Gorilla Corning 6,
yes,
which is much better than the Gorilla Corning 5. I thought the series was gonna jump the shark after 4. You know, some of the big stars were leaving, but like they managed to bring it around with the 6, which
that's right.
I was really appreciative of that. Okay, so we've got the stylus pen.
Yep.
This is a 16-inch screen, and then a 12th gen Core i7. See, I know computer stuff too. And so what does that mean, the 12th gen Core i7? Is that a good processor?
Yeah, it's one of the most recent processors we have. What I like about the 12th gen is there is actually, as far as processors go, there's 1,378 different processors that exist or we've had, and the 12th gen is within the 1 to 50 range. So it's a very good processor.
In terms of like just percentages, it's in the upper echelon.
100%.
Okay, that's pretty cool. It has an integrated Iris Xe graphics card, so you wouldn't necessarily use this guy for your gaming.
Yes.
But this is enough for like a lot of casual like video play and things like that.
100%, yeah.
Okay, so tough question, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
So let's say that, you know, because this isn't necessarily designed for gaming, this is designed for productivity apps and things like that,
right,
and to maximize that. But $2,100, most of these productivity apps can run on like, you know, that potato experiment you used to do in school where you like create a circuit with a potato. So why am I spending that much on this for productivity, which is kind of, for use of a better term, a low rent activity to begin with?
Well, simply because all the specs besides the processor that come with it. So it has 16 gigs of RAM. That's pretty much your multitasking. So the more things you do on the computer at once, the less likely it's gonna, you know, tear or slow down the more RAM you have. And it's DDR5. Most things that you buy nowadays are typically DDR4. What that means is that this is double time the speed. So if you got your one that has 5 tabs open, you got Microsoft Office going, you got YouTube going in the background, you got your remote login from your work going in, and all this is going on the screen at once. That's going to help you be able to do that and increase your productivity. Because having both 16 grams as opposed to, I think mid-range standard is more like 8, yeah, right? And so DDR5 is also a step over DDR4. That's right. I'm not as familiar with DDR5. Does it make that much of a difference? Oh, significantly. Okay. Significantly. That's definitely the area we're gonna go from here on out. A lot of gamers love their machines to be DDR5 because they get to do a tad bit more. So think of you getting a gaming experience without a gaming card. Ooh, okay. So I like that, because gaming, but maybe on more of a budget. Exactly. Okay, you know, just in case, you know, people have a budget. And now 2 terabytes of SSD, so that's plenty of hard drive for a lot of people. Yes. Because what, like standard mid-range is all the way down at 256 megabytes, and this is 2 terabytes, so this is, the one number is great. Actually, 256 is a bigger number than 2, but the unit is different. So it's, you know, so that's nice. Okay, this has Amazon's Assistant built in. It's got Windows 11. And if I may interject, yeah, please. Another thing about the SSD, most people are typically used to hard drives, where if you look at it, it's HDD, so hard disk drive. What that means is, you know, as you know, when we used to start our computers back in the day, sure, yeah, it would take 2 or 3 minutes for the computer to start. And you crank to get it to exactly. Okay, yeah. All right. So as far as cranking, that disk is spinning and spinning and spinning, and once it finally warms up and everything boots the way you want it. A SSD is just a chip, so you don't have that spinning disk. The idea is less moving parts in the machine, less things to go wrong. So this machine is going to start in 10 to 15 seconds.
And more stable, right?
Exactly.
Like, because that less moving parts also means, like, for instance, you could drop the laptop 15 feet and less chance of a disc getting knocked out or a giant crank getting dislodged, let's say. Okay, IPS display. I saw around like 20-ish hours of battery, something like that.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
this has a beefy, like, all-day style battery life.
Exactly.
Okay.
When most machines are 8 to 11 hours, so you're definitely getting a good amount of time with it too.
Nice, and 3 pounds-ish, so that's pretty light, especially for like a 16-inch screen. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, because I always talk about with laptops, you want to balance price, performance, and portability and check off at least 2. So it sounds like this guy is really checking off performance and portability.
100%.
Really easy to take with you with a lot of really nice specs.
Right. And if I can give you guys a fun fact.
Okay.
Because even though it's a 16-inch screen, because the bezel's so low, as long as the sleeve that you're using is wide enough, it'll fit in a 15.6-inch sleeve.
Woo. And if I can give you a fun fact, bananas are flame resistant. So that is, right? You just gotta, I learned that earlier from a camera guy Prince, and so now we're spreading that news. So if you got a fire in your place, just throw bananas at it. I'm pretty sure they said, no, don't actually try this at home. Right? Yeah, okay, exactly right. That's how you win the race, is you throw the bananas at the thing. Okay, so this seems like a really good high-end laptop for the price. Anything else people want to know if they're thinking about like looking at this one in particular and considering this guy? Like, what accessories would you recommend to go alongside this?
Well, typically with most laptops, people tend to suggest like docking stations so that you could run more than one monitor at one time, be able to plug in additional ports and stuff. But with the LG, you may not necessarily need to. So the LG is strong enough to power 2 monitors at once. One with the HDMI that's on here, that comes on most, and the other with the USB-C, or also known as Thunderbolt 4. All right. So with this one here in particular, you have a HDMI adapter where you can run into a monitor, and you have the Thunderbolt 4 that also doubles as a charger that you can plug in USB-C, kind of like how Apple does, and be able to plug HDMI or USB-C into an additional monitor. So that's a really big key there, especially if you're taking it on the go. You don't have to carry around all this stuff and you got the cables with you.
Hey, so that's really cool, and it reminds me, let's take care of some like just business here. Yeah. What ports? It has a backlit keyboard, of course.
Yes.
And then what ports do we actually have? It looks like we've got a couple of USB-Cs.
Yep.
We got a headphone jack.
Yep.
What else are we looking at here?
And then we also have one additional USB.
Okay.
So if you did need more than one USB, you weren't using a full Bluetooth mouse, you were using a Bluetooth mouse and keyboard or something like that had the USB port where you're plugging in an external drive or a flash drive, that's when the additional docking station or something of that nature will come in so you can have more ports.
So lots of options, lots of ports, lots of power, decent price, and a laptop that if you are looking for productivity and you want to make it as snappy as can be, is definitely worth your consideration. And you can come into Apt and talk to my man Demetrius about it and actually take this laptop for a spin. We have it on display. You can also check us out online and talk to our experts there. Lots of options to make sure this is the right laptop for you. Again, this is the LG Gram 16-inch Obsidian Black 2-in-1. This is Demetrius, computer expert extraordinaire. I'm Andrew. We work for Apt. Check this guy out, and thank you for watching.